All right, good afternoon or good morning, depending on where you are. This is Alan Gerard from Balanced Weather. I'm in Bay St. Louis, Mississippi. This afternoon. It's just afternoon here, and I'm going to just talk here for a minute or two to see if we get anybody to join. I'm still experimenting with this uh, video stuff and Google Live, or excuse me, and Substack Lives. So, uh, bear with me as I'm trying to figure all this out. But I wanted to do a live from here this afternoon because this is this location here where I am along um, uh, the beach here in Bay St. Louis near the Bay St. Louis Harbor is the area that that I came down to in the wake of Hurricane Katrina back 20 years ago in 2005. Back when that hurricane occurred, I was the meteorologist in charge of the National Weather Service office in Jackson, Mississippi. And while we didn't have responsibility for for the Gulf Coast, we had briefing responsibility for the entire state of Mississippi. And um, we were obviously partnered closely with the office in New Orleans, which was actually in Slidell, Louisiana, just about I don't know 30 miles west of here. And even though it was fairly close, with all of the issues that they had going on and all the damage that had occurred, they hadn't been able to get over here. And so, a few days after Katrina made landfall, myself and our warning coordination meteorologist and a couple of other staff members piled in a truck and drove down from Jackson. We drove through Hattiesburg to look at um, damage that occurred, wind damage that had occurred in that area, and then worked our way down to the coast. And this is where we ended up. We came in from the northwest, came down by Stennis Space Center. If you look at a map, you'll see you come down along Highway 607 down into Waveland and then here into Bay St. Louis. And I'm going to try to figure out here, okay, how to switch the camera view. So I'm here on the beach. I'm actually walking on a little walking path here above the beach. And there's a couple things I wanted to point out. First, you can see the bridge here. This is the bridge over Bay St. Louis that leads over to Pass Christian on the east side of Bay St. Louis. Uh, there's uh, the auto bridge, US Highway 90. And then if we go over here on the other side of the harbor, we can see there's a rail bridge and a train going across. These bridges were destroyed by the surge of Hurricane Katrina. If you do a Google search, and I'm actually going to post some of these pictures in a post of this video later today, you can see how the spans were pancaked by the surge. My understanding is the bridge has been built higher up now and should be able to better withstand storm surge. But the storm surge from Hurricane Katrina peaked out officially at 28 and a half feet over on the east side of um, St. Louis Bay there in Pass Christian, which was pretty much the same area where it peaked out during Camille back in 1969. So, another thing I wanted to point out here is just um, how high I am right now. Um, the elevation of Bay St. Louis, from what I understand, is about 12, most of Bay St. Louis is about 12 to 15 feet above sea level. So when we talk about a storm surge, I'm hoping to give you just a little bit of visual perspective of what we're talking about here. The Gulf is, um, well below me by probably 10 to 15 feet and about 100 yards away from me. And if I pan around and look back here to the north, you can see the buildings of Bay St. Louis. I was actually going to try to video from right across from where Um, we kind of took some very crude surge measurements back when we came down uh, back in 2005. But unfortunately, number one, everything has changed down here so much. Obviously, everything was destroyed when we came down, and um, number one, and number two, um, everything has just changed so much. You can't really. Um, I can't. I'm not sure exactly where we were, but the point I really want to make is that when you think about how far back here behind me the Gulf is, and then you look back up here, and we were standing next to buildings about the size of these ones that I'm looking at here, and you could see the watermarks above our head, well above our head. And so, I mean, when you think about the power of storm surge and just how far that water was pushed inland and how high it had to get to the level to be able to be, up, 10 feet or more on some of these buildings that are here behind me. You were just talking about an incredible surge event, and there's a couple of things that really um, caused it to be such a massive surge. Number one, Katrina had obviously been a Category 5 hurricane when it was out over the Gulf of Mexico. And you may have heard me talk in some of my posts as we talked about tropical weather about um, eye wall replacement cycles. Unfortunately, Katrina went through an eye wall replacement cycle just before it made landfall. And that caused the already large, powerful um, wind field of Katrina to um, spread out even more, and it enabled it to have an even more powerful surge as it made landfall, even though the peak winds came down a little bit. And then also, the central Gulf of Mexico coast is really um, very prone to storm surge for oceanographic reasons, the way uh, the coastline runs up. It's just a very storm surge prone area. So when you combine all that, this area here is just one of the most vulnerable places, really, in the world to damaging hurricane storm surge. And I think you really get the perspective where you see where I'm standing right now, and you can just kind of barely see the water over there on the other side of um, the path I was just on, and how far back you've got to go back here, and how far inland the water penetrated. There's railroad tracks that run off to the north, and um, if you look at the Waveland side, the water just pushed all the way up to the railroad tracks on the Waveland side, and just the damage down there was even more. I mean, it was incredible everywhere, but that was the area back there in Waveland where I stood. That we It was like standing in EF5 storm damage. It was just incredible. I want to finish off here by looking at this. Let's see if I can back up here a little bit at this angel tree. This is one of the things that they've done along the Gulf Coast in the wake of Katrina. They've taken some of the old oak trees that were damaged um, by Hurricane Katrina, and artists have carved them and made them into art to remember the devastation of Katrina and the people that were lost. And this particular tree here, as you can see, stood 225 feet west of here at a home where the owner in the early 1900s saved this tree. And it's, I just wanted to finish by saying how incredibly impressed I am with the resilience and um, the tenacity of the people that live here along the Mississippi Gulf Coast and all of the Gulf Coast, obviously. But I'm the most familiar with Mississippi, having lived here for 20 years, lived in Jackson for 20 years, and come down to the Mississippi coast a lot. It's always a pleasure to get back here and see how much the area has been able to recover in that 20-year period. Uh, this is really just a wonderful part of the country, and the people here are great, and it's a wonderful area. And um, I'm glad that as rebuilding has gone on, it's been done with a view toward improving resilience and uh, mitigating the hazards that these areas face. Because the reality is, we had Camille in 1969, we had Katrina in 2005. There have been other hurricanes already since 2005, and there will be more powerful hurricanes that will strike this area. And um, the communities here are resilient, and part of that is because they have to be, because this is a threat that they're always going to face. And um, with the way sea level is rising and climate is warming, the threat from storm surge is just going to continue to increase at some level here. So, um, you know, like I said, I love being here. It's a great area, um, but uh, it's also a reminder of the incredible forces of nature and the danger that these massive tropical cyclones pose to not only our coast, obviously, but coastlines around the world. Bangladesh is another area of the world that is incredibly prone to storm surge, and um, they've done a lot to mitigate and improve their resilience as well. And I think that we have things that we can learn from them about how to be better prepared for tropical cyclones. And I'm going to talk about that in a later post. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I hope this was of some interest, and as a train blares behind me, and I want to thank all of you again for being supporters of Balanced Weather. Um, we've had uh, a lot of things to cover in the last 6 months since I started this up, with everything that's going on with the government and everything that's been going on with the weather. And I'm going to try to continue to stay on top of it and hopefully have more videos like this to share as we go forwards. Definitely planning to do some live videos during severe weather and some winter weather and uh, severe weather related briefings as we get into the fall severe weather season and eventually into winter weather season. So I hope everybody is doing well, has a great weekend, and we'll talk to you all soon. And please feel free to provide any feedback or questions you have about this video or things you'd like to see on future videos. Thanks, and y'all have a great day.